No, I mean, I talked to somebody recently who said that most animals, that we're designed to think negatively out of fear and protection. So, like, that's one of the things we've had to reconfigure as conscious, sentient animals,
Yeah.
Is you had to, but that's what we're talking about here. That's the challenge. That's what we've been talking about the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, fear. I'm so exhausted from being terrified. And, people will say to me, oh, I have to public speaker. I got to make a speech. What do I do? Can you help me? And I say to them, shake. Let your legs shake. Let your arms shake. Let your lips shake. Sweat. Let tears roll down your eyes. Have you ever walked away from someone in that condition in front of your eyes? People will lean into you. And those that don't, just be great. Just hope they walk away quicker.
Well, I mean, if you're advising a guy who's going to give some sort of corporate presentation, just go out there and cry. I mean, you're like...
So lonely. First of all, you've got them in the palm of your hand. Secondly, they're going to want to pay you to shut the fuck up and get to the next guy.
Yeah, help this guy. This guy needs help. Should have got it together.
Yeah, give him $1 billion and let him build it.
So you did the show, the Homeland show you did for a long time, right?
Approximately 10 years from hello to the final goodbye, but it was 8 seasons. But
you enjoyed it.
10 years.
I
just loved it. I truly loved it on so many levels. The people involved, first and foremost, the character of the material, the relationships with the intelligence community that we formed in terms of our research systems, and the relationships that I made with those people long term in many cases. The connective nature of my being to a global understanding of systems broken and needing attention paid.
So it informed you politically to some degree.
Politically, it gave me a platform unlike any other part of my career. It started my relationship with the International Rescue Committee and helping refugees be listened to and attention be paid to them. And then, because of all of that, it's all the ripple from that whole thing because of the platform we made I made the refugee thing. I never had social media. We started it for refugee crisis with the International Rescue Committee. Then my son, who always has taken out his cell phone, filming family things, takes a family movie of Catherine and I after we have a fight on our anniversary, says, Dad, this was really kind of sweet. Can I put that on your social media? I said, I don't know how to do that. I have somebody who does that for me. He says, I can do it. And he does it and it goes well. And then he starts doing that at the time when the pandemic starts, and it's bringing a smile to people. So, we're just the hired idiot parents. We just answer his questions.
Are you on the Instagram?
Yeah. We're doing nothing except answering Gideon's questions. Yeah. And he's putting this stuff out there. And then, George Floyd is murdered. So we then shift. It's not appropriate to do that. So we shift into awareness for Black Lives Matter. And that moment, but in the back of our minds, the minute this thing started catching, we thought, if we could grow this platform, we can maybe help get out the vote, in September and October. And we were a little part of that effort. And, from all of those things from being in a television show.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, that as a, progressive, thoughtful, creative Jew guy, that, it feels like it took you a while to get on board with the social activism, huh?
Oh, no, not at all. I'd been, it was my wife brought us on board early on. Social activism in terms of social media. We have been very active since, since I began doing solo concerts. Are
you a fan of Theodore Bickel?
I know him. I've been with him. My father loved him. Beautiful man. I'm glad I got to be on a stage with him once. Oh,
you were? Yeah, because it seems like there is some connective tissue there.
Yeah. I'm certainly one of those guys of our generation. Are you asking me to sing you a Yiddish song? Is that what? No.
I'm just wondering.
No.
I'd love it. No, I'd love it. Did you did you have to learn Yiddish?
I did. I mean, I particularly know the words, every word I sing, but I learned it to a point through the lyrics that I went to Germany and on more than one occasion, but I go to a German movie and find my way around.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your favorite Yiddish song?
It's German based. My favorite Yiddish song I think is the one my dad sang. The only one my dad sang. He never sang much, but it was amazing, my little devos, das Mädel po Schichlecho bin Musmun dem Schuster sagen. Nein, Mamische, nein, du kennst mich nicht verstehen. Du weißt nicht, was ich meine. So it goes on, and it's about, Mama, what do you want? What do you want, my daughter? What do you want? You're not happy. Do you want a pair of shoes? No, Mama, you don't understand. You never understand. Do you want a new dress? No, Mama, you don't understand. You never understand. Do you want a boyfriend? Yes, Mama, you understand. You always understand.
Yeah.
And my dad used to sing that. So when I learned all this Yiddish music, that was the one that mattered to me.
Yeah.
Because it was my dad's.
Well, so was there Yiddish spoken in the house?
Only as a secret language, and particularly when Grandma Celia came over, because she never learned how to write very well or speak English. And she would always go in the basement with my father because she didn't want my sister and myself to see how long it took her to sign the checks.
My grandparents used to speak it when they didn't want us to understand what they were saying. Yeah. Well, that's amazing. So when you do these things, how many people are left of the generation that is provocative like that?
It's astounding how Yiddish has grown through folks, Bina and different organizations that have brought, in a language that was tried to have been decimated, attempted to be decimated completely, back to life. There are camps. They just did, my friends at Folks Bina did this Yiddish Fiddler on the Roof. It was one of the most extraordinary things. All of us have seen Fiddler on the Roof in one iteration or another. This was the definition of how it should have been seen. And it was unbelievably powerful. And Joel Gray directed it, and it had a simplicity that was almost like a high school production. But because of the connective tissue of the sounds of a language. And I remember when we recorded it, I had many of the same musicians, African-American musicians, Asian musicians, who worked on most of my other recordings in New York, studio musicians. And the African-American and Asian musicians came up to me afterwards and said, we just want you to know we've worked on all your albums. This is the most powerful experience we've ever had, and we couldn't understand a single word. And as I started to perform it, and Catholic priests and nuns and, Irishmen would come back and say, thank you. And I learned what meaning of this was. I just happened to be a Jew who connected to my heritage's language. The lesson was, whatever you come from, whatever the language is of your ancestors, take a walk in it, take a bath in it, let it wash over you. Don't try to understand it. Just drink it and let it wash you. And there's something about it. And it's one of the great things that's unexplainable.
Well, yeah, it's like that. It's like the idea of centuries of prayer. There's like a groove there. That there's it's not just tradition. It's not legacy. It's almost genetic. It's a language spoken through centuries.
Yes.
And once you tap into it, it makes you feel connected. Yeah.
Connected. Yeah. I mean, that's to me, the word. James Lapine put it in Sunday in the Park with George. So my character of George Surratt, when I was 31 or 2 years old, I think, or maybe I was 34, repeated this line over and over again through the play, connect, George, connect. And it became the word I realized of my existence. And it's the only words, if I have a tombstone, which I'm not dealing with because I can't deal with any of that. So I'll check out when the time comes, and it's my children's problem or whoever's left. And I don't expect to know about it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know I'm going to be put in a box. I don't want to know that they're gonna cook me in an oven. I don't want to be in a mud hole. I don't want any possibilities to exist. And so I don't want to know. But if there is a tombstone, I wanted to say he tried to connect.
Well, you do, and I think that, like, as you're saying this, that. The horror for you, that the existential dread must come from those moments where you feel disconnected.
Very much. And the most painful moments, both personally, if they're with my children or wife, when I can't communicate, or I over-communicate, or I'm over-emotional or oversensitive, and I blow the moment, or I'm on stage, and I just missed it, or did too much, or couldn't recover quick enough, or was too young to know how to recover. I was in great pain and still am to this day at times, particularly with family. because I don't get that moment back. Yet with those who love you, you do get another try. As soon as you knock on the door, they will open it. You're the one who closes it.
Yeah, because you're busy beating the shit out of yourself in the room.
Shit out of yourself. And to have my two sons and my wife, Catherine, for 42 years between Catherine and the boys, constantly love me in spite of it all is pretty overwhelming.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah. So I
you didn't fuck that up. Good for you.
I'm a lucky guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you knew where the line was, apparently.
I think so, but they also knew that it's going to take Dad. Dad's going to go to the city. Dad took the dog. Dad, he may come back. He may not back. He may not come back for a week. It always happens around my birthday and Thanksgiving, which are days apart. Always. I can't handle something about it, and I usually check out. Last year, I went to go to New Orleans because somebody said something, and I got upset. Packed my bag, went to LaGuardia, got on the airplane. Then something happened on the airplane, and at that moment, I felt better. And I thought, I don't need to go to New Orleans. So I said to the stewardess, can I please get off the airplane? I need to get off the airplane. There was some sort of problem. I said, I got to get off the airplane. I made it like a little crazier.
Yeah.
And they opened the door. They let me off. I got back in the cab. I went back to the country. And I said, I'm home. So now we kind of refer to it as he in New Orleans.
So you find that the depression comes at certain times.
At times, yes, but I can never identify the trigger. It comes out of nowhere. Literally, occasionally.
And you literally have to go away for a few days.
Yeah, I just have to know that I can escape. That I have an alternative to being confined. And by confined, meaning if it's with my wife, that you have to be to my wife, that my darling, you have to be around me. I don't want to expose me to you. I don't want my kids to have to be exposed to my darkness. And I need to know I can get away. And as long as and everybody's fine. I mean, Gideon, my youngest one, he had it better than anybody, and he taught the rest of the family. So every Thanksgiving and Christmas, the family members of the monks at the monastery in upstate New York, where my brother-in-law is, it's family night on Christmas and Thanksgiving. So one day I was in a bad way, and we drive the family up there. We're in the parking lot, and everybody knows Dad's in a dark spot. And Gideon outside, and he's about, I don't know, maybe he's 15, 16, maybe. And and he said, if you can't get it together, don't come in. And I didn't. And I stayed in the car for about an hour. But he's the clearest one. He's the only one in the family that doesn't try to fix me.
Yeah, I grew up with a father with depression, and I know the story of it. But for you, no medicine?
Oh, I had 15 years of 5 different medicines at a time at one point. I was on stage in New York doing my I think my Sondheim show. 20 minutes into the concert, and I went up because of what some lyric did. Yeah, to my head, and I stopped, and I started the whole thing over again from the beginning. Yeah, and a friend of mine said, you can never do that again. And I thought to myself, let me tell you something. I'll do it again if I need to do it again. And I went home and I took that last bottle of pills I had and I put them in the toilet. Yeah. And I said, because I tried to get off those pills many times over the years. And I prefaced this by saying, some people need medication and it's important. But for me, all the medications put that fighting part of my brain to sleep. And I needed every cellular opportunity to stay focused and alive and battle the darkness. And so I would try many times to get off it with, lying to the doctor, just not taking it over the years. And like clockwork, 2 weeks into it, I'd crash, call the doctor, have to take it again. But that night I put it in the toilet and I said, never again. And I'd rather not be here than feel chained to this. I can't do it anymore. And it was the moment when I was ready, and I was done.
Yeah, you seem okay.
These were prescribed medications.
Sure, I get it.
And the other thing that everybody probably knows is there are psychopharmacologists out there that should be put in prison.
Yeah.
That give you